Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. So I'm back for another Roscoe's recap, and this viewing party was for All Stars 10 episode 5, and the guests this week were Mistress Isabel Brooks and Bosco. So today we're going to be talking about the truth about what really happened when Mistress and Georges tricked Nicole and Kerry into giving them their points. Some backstage tea about Nicole's reveal and how Mistress potentially set her up. And why Mistress was angry on set and refused to talk to production. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. And I'd just like to take a moment to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Coupert. If you love shopping online but hate hunting around for coupons and promo codes, well, Coupert will be your new secret weapon. It's a free browser extension that works behind the scenes to save you money automatically. So this is how it works, don't worry, it's really easy. First you install the free Coupert extension, and it's available for Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Opera and Safari on desktop, plus Safari on mobile. Once it's set up, you just shop like you would normally online. When you get to the checkout page, Coupert will automatically run through thousands of coupon codes to find and apply the best deals for you, so there's no more copying and pasting or hunting around the internet trying to find the best discount codes. Coupert works with over 200,000 merchants globally to bring you the best deals and savings. And it gets even better than that because Coupert also offers cashback rewards on purchases. Just activate the cashback feature before you buy, and Coupert returns a portion of their commission directly to you. You can then withdraw your cashback through PayPal, gift cards, or even your bank card. And if you're like me and you love making sure you get the best price possible, Coupert's price comparison tool shows you prices for the same product across multiple different websites to make sure you make informed purchasing decisions. So if you want to make sure you're not overpaying for things and you're getting the best possible price, make sure you install Coupert using the link in the description and the pinned comment, and join millions of other savvy shoppers worldwide. And thanks again to Coupert for sponsoring this video. So they started off and Naysha asked Bosco and Mistress what it's like being back on TV for All Stars. Mistress said for her, she's quote remained relevant since her original season because of her YouTube channel where she does her Mistress Mondays and everyone cheered. So Mistress said she's used to being in the public eye, but she didn't realise before that Drag Race has a different fandom to the people that usually watch you. Mistress then said, quote, I'm back to fighting with 12-year-olds, amazing. Bosco then joked that Mistress was a quote bully, and Mistress said, quote, a little bit, I'm also fat, and people laughed. They then watched the part of this week's episode when Mistress and Georges tricked the others into giving them their NVQ points, and then they gave their points to each other, meaning that Mistress and Georges ended up with 2 points each, whereas Nicole and Kerry were left with 0 points. Naysha said they had to pause the episode so they could talk about this, and people in the audience were laughing and cheering. Naysha said she would let Mistress think about what she was going to say for a moment, and Naysha asked Bosco a question first, which was, how happy was Bosco that she was now done with her bracket? Bosco said after all of the brackets had finished filming, they all texted, and Bosco said, quote, thank God I was in the orange bracket. Bosco then joked that if Mistress had tried something like that with her or Aja, quote, there would have been blows. Mistress joked that she and Aja would have been the first physical fight on Drag Race. Naysha then asked Bosco about her relationship with Irene the alien because they're both from Seattle. Bosco explained that she and Irene worked together for years and they both started coming up in this Seattle scene together about 8 years ago. They also used to hang out in Irene's car and whisper about one day getting on Drag Race. Then Bosco did get on the show, and a year later so did Irene, but for Irene it didn't quite work out as planned because she was the first eliminated. But now you've seen what Irene can actually do, and they got to compete together on All Stars, which was cool. Bosco joked that they kind of, quote, tore, mopped up, and it was kind of a, quote, blowout. They then got on to Mistress and what she did this week with the points. Mistress joked that you all need to go to the polls because you can see how advanced AI is, and what we saw wasn't real, and everyone laughed. Naysha asked Mistress, when she got the call for All Stars, did she go in there wanting to stir stuff up, or did she want to go in there wanting to tone it down this time? Mistress explained that if you know her, she's quote fully delusional, and she thinks she's sweet, so she went in wanting to be her nice self. She also mentioned that if you don't watch her YouTube or her Patreon, you're missing out, and this kind of became a bit of a running joke throughout the viewing party, and she kept mentioning her YouTube and Patreon. But Mistress added that in case you haven't seen her videos, this was actually the 4th time that she's been asked to do an All Stars. Roscoe said there hasn't been 4 seasons since Mistress's original season. But Mistress revealed that there was one season that was cancelled, and they were supposed to be in teams, which Roscoe said she had heard about. Mistress also mentioned that there had been some other ones like Versus the World. I tried to see if I could find any information about this apparent cancelled All-Stars season with teams that Mistress mentioned, because I'd never heard about this before, but all I could find was a recent Reddit thread where people were discussing this topic because Mistress had brought it up at Roscoe's. Most people in the comments think that Mistress was actually making it up and Bosco was just going along with it. However, someone else said, apparently on Mistress's Patreon with Irene, Mistress mentioned that she was really close to getting on All Stars 9, but she couldn't get time off the Work the World tour, so she couldn't do it. However, this is just what someone said on Reddit, so I can't guarantee if this is true or not, but I just thought this was some potentially interesting additional information. But back to Roscoe's, and Mistress went on to say that this offer for All Stars 10 felt different because she liked how the tournament style was going to be different, and she likes being the guinea pig because she can make it how she wants to see it. Mistress then said the true tea is she calls herself the TMZ of drag, and she had heard about all the different queens who were going to be on the season, so Mistress just lied to everyone and said things like, quote, "Girl, I would never go back, they blacklisted me, I didn't get any calls." So everyone was pouring their heart out to Mistress, and so she knew the whole cast by the time everyone got the call. Mistress added that she was doing the math in her head, and Luxe Noir London was originally supposed to be on the season, and Mistress joked that she thought, quote, "I'm gonna get that B word together because she's been talking a lot of bleep." Bosco asked if she would really have done that to Luxe, presumably meaning the whole thing with the NVQ point, and Mistress said, quote, "Oh, fully," and everyone laughed. Mistress added that the thing with Luxe though is that they would have just laughed about it, which is why when it happened, Mistress was just laughing, and apparently what we saw in the episode was such a cut down, edited version of what really happened. But what actually happened was, Mistress was, quote, so effing peed about Love Sensation. And I assume Mistress means that she was annoyed about not winning the challenge and therefore not getting to lip sync to the song Love Sensation. And I assume the reason is because Mistress is apparently known for performing that song, and there are videos of Mistress performing that song, so maybe Mistress really wanted to perform that song and she was annoyed that she didn't get to. Anyway, Mistress said that she was so annoyed about not getting to do it, apparently off camera, all the production staff came up to Mistress and told her she did a great job. Mistress said that she said to them, quote, "Don't effing talk to me," and she just sat there and didn't say anything at all. So they then went into the workroom, and Mistress said she was, quote, mad as F right before the cameras turned on, but then once the cameras went on, Mistress smiled and went, quote, "That was so sickening, congratulations, Lydia." Mistress said they, presumably referring to production, were mad because they wanted Mistress to sit there and be, quote, sourpuss. Mistress added that usually she's the first one to talk in the group, but she just sat there quiet and everyone was just staring at her because, quote, "If I'm crying, the whole room is crying." Then Kerry and Nicole started talking about exchanging points, and Mistress said this is where she started to realise that she's delusional because she doesn't remember saying to them that she would give them her point, but now watching back the, quote, AI version, Mistress said, quote, "I guess I lied a little bit, I don't know," and everyone laughed. Mistress then said in her mind, Kerry and Nicole said they were going to give each other their points, but Mistress was going to go with what Tina had said, that they should give the point to the queen that did the best that week, and Mistress felt that she had done the best, so she was going to get her points. Bosco then looked at Mistress and said, quote, "You are so effing deranged. This is like interviewing a serial killer justifying every decision," and everyone laughed. Mistress said the reason she kept laughing in that moment though was because Nicole clocked it so many times and said that Mistress was going to steal from her and that she didn't trust her. But Mistress said she was giving, quote, masculine energy, saying, quote, "B word, give me your point," and Nicole gave in. Bosco said she loves that Mistress and Georges were openly talking about backstabbing them. Batty Davis then asked what exactly did Mistress whisper to Georges in that moment. Mistress explained that she and Georges have known each other since they were 16 years old, starting drag together and sneaking into clubs. So when you've known someone for that long, all it takes is a little glance at each other. Mistress also added that she's a watcher and she was watching how everyone operated. She said that Nicole was, quote, in over her head. Nicole was just having a good time. But also Nicole and Mistress had kikied about being Brooke's sisters, so Nicole was, quote, feeling the fantasy. Whereas Mistress said Kerry was, quote, clocked out and over it, because apparently Kerry really thought that she was going to be in the top for the design challenge, and Kerry was just as annoyed as Mistress was. So because everyone was clocked out at this point, Mistress leaned over to Georges and said, quote, "Give me your point." Nicole apparently caught it a little bit, and Georges just nodded her head. But Mistress said, honestly, the real reason that she is a, quote, true villain is because what she really wanted to happen was for Georges to not give her point to Mistress and give it to someone else instead, because it would have, quote, gagged everyone, and Bosco agreed. Mistress then said that's why she was so confused that Kerry was so mad, because Mistress was the one who was supposed to switch with Nicole, but Georges is the one who was supposed to switch with Kerry and didn't. So Mistress said, quote, "Why am I the one taking the heat, B word?" But Naisha said Mistress set the tone because she gave her point to Georges first and knew that Georges was going to give her point to Mistress. Mistress just smiled and said that Kerry should have directed her anger at Georges, and everyone laughed. But Mistress said she knew that they had created a sickening moment because even the crew was gagged and, quote, everyone's jaw dropped, which is the other reason that Mistress laughed because she couldn't believe that she had pulled it off. Naisha then said that she thinks she speaks for everyone when she says that this is what we watch the show for, and everyone clapped and cheered. They moved on and there was a VIP question which was, what is Mistress's relationship with Nicole Paige Brooks and also the Davenports? Mistress explained that her drag grandmother is a queen named Alexis Davenport, who is the drag mother of Kennedy Davenport and Sahara Davenport, and it's a Brooks Davenport same thing. Mistress's mother is Chevelle Brooks, who was the first Davenport daughter, but they never took the Davenport name. Whereas Nicole Paige Brooks' mother is a queen named Shauna Brooks, which is a totally different family. But Mistress said that it's, quote, cutesy, and people always think that they're the same drag family, so they're kind of like distant cousins. Mistress said the tea is that Nicole doesn't really know that many of the other drag queens because she hasn't been on the show in so long, so Mistress called Nicole to say they were going to be on the show together and asked what's the tea. Mistress joked that when Nicole called her Isabella rather than Isabel, that's when she knew Nicole was, quote, using me, which is why she had to, quote, cut her off. But Mistress said she really does love Nicole, and Nicole is some of the best TV we've had in a long time because she's, quote, bat bleep effing crazy. And when they went into their bracket, Mistress said she really wanted to make sure that she and Nicole made it to the next stage together. But then when Mistress saw Nicole make that leotard with spray adhesive and the stars falling off, she said, quote, she's too far gone. Bosco said she had heard that Mistress said she wanted to make Nicole her, quote, prodigy. Mistress added that she is basically Nicole's social media manager, and one day she told Nicole to go live, and Nicole ended up spilling too much tea. And this is presumably referring to when Nicole revealed that Maddie Morphosis was supposed to be on the season but then wasn't, and she also talked about how Lydia got on the season, which I did talk about in a previous Roscoe's recap. They moved on and talked about going back to All Stars. Mistress said she knows this sounds cocky, but a lot of queens go back to All Stars to reignite their careers. But Mistress said she, quote, didn't need that. And the reason she went back was because the fans wanted her to go back. So she went back to have fun and because she loves, quote, causing chaos. Also, Mistress said you never know when Drag Race will end for whatever reason, so you should take the opportunity while you still have it. Roscoe said for her, when they announced that there was going to be a format change for All Stars, she wanted to be in the first season with the new format because she wants to be the first one who has that impact. Mistress also said that apparently they did not know if they were going to be getting eliminated or what was going to happen, but she knew that even if she was the first out, she already had a solidified fan base. They moved on and Naysha brought up a question that she had had about season 15. She said that if you watch the season 15 finale, when they announced Miss Congeniality and the queens come out on stage, Mistress wasn't there, but then they pan to the audience and when they come back, Mistress is there. So she asked Mistress what happened. Just in case you don't know, there have been rumours for years that Mistress apparently had some kind of tantrum at the season 15 finale, and her fellow season 15 sister, Malaysia Baby Doll Fox, once mentioned something vaguely about this on Twitter, and people thought that maybe Malaysia was the one who started this rumour. However, I don't think Mistress has ever publicly confirmed whether this rumour is true or not. Mistress said she's heard this rumour before and that people make up these, quote, crazy rumours. Mistress said she still knew that although she hadn't made it to top 2 on season 15, she was still up for Miss Congeniality, so she went backstage to touch up her makeup and it, quote, took a little longer. Mistress said she thought that she was going to win Miss Congeniality, so she was off in the wings, and then they gave it to Malaysia instead, and then they said Mistress could go back out on stage. Naysha and Batty said that doesn't sound right, and that doesn't match up to the story that they had heard, which was that Mistress was so upset that she did not make it to top 2 that she decided she would not come back on stage. Mistress then smiled and started naming all of the different networks like Paramount and World of Wonder and thanked them for all of the wonderful opportunities they've given her, and everyone started laughing. Mistress then told the story but said she couldn't tell the full thing, and it went on for quite a while, so I'll just summarise. Mistress said that she's a pageant queen, and in pageants it's common that if you don't win, you just walk off stage and don't come back. So when Mistress did not get into top 2, she walked away because she knows what she's like and she's a heated person, and she decided to remove herself from the situation because she didn't want to go off on anyone or ruin anyone else's moment. Apparently, Mistress walked off stage and had already wiped off her makeup and started getting out of drag because she was ready to leave. She also claimed that they didn't tell her that she had to come back on stage for Miss Congeniality. The others said that they do that every season, so how did Mistress not know? But Mistress said that she famously does not watch Drag Race. And so Mistress was apparently already half out of drag, and they came to her and told her she had to come back on stage for Miss Congeniality, and Mistress asked, quote, "Are y'all going to wait for me?" And that's why it took time for her to come back out, because she had to put back on her makeup and get back into drag. But Mistress claimed it wasn't because she was, quote, acting a fool, it was because she had already packed away her stuff and was ready to leave. They then watched the Rapping Roast challenge for this week, and Caramel asked if they got to hear the other queens' verses beforehand. Mistress said because the show is such a quick turnaround, they do a lot of stuff in post-production, and the sound quality on stage is really bad, so she said, for example, she didn't hear a word that Kerry had said during her verse. And Bosco said the reverb on stage is really bad. They moved on to the runways for this week, and the category was Little Shop of Whores. When they got to Mistress, Batty joked that Mistress looked like Bowser from Mario, and everyone laughed. Mistress explained that sometimes you have to get your runway outfits approved beforehand, and because she's busy, she was the last to submit her runways, and this outfit was not what she originally wanted to do, and Mistress said it was a, quote, chop, and she, quote, looked the goddamn fool, I look fat as hell. They then moved on to Nicole's runway, and Mistress said she had some tea about this. Apparently, because both Mistress and Nicole were doing cactus runways, Nicole came to Mistress in the workroom when the cameras were off and said that she wasn't sure if she should do the reveal because it, quote, looked the fool. But Mistress said to her, quote, no girl, it's definitely going to set you apart. And she apparently said that Nicole definitely should do it and convinced her to do it. And everyone laughed because it sounds like Mistress kind of set up Nicole. Mistress also added that they walked the runway twice, and the first time they did it with no music, when Nicole took off her reveal, all you could hear were the stones and things hitting the floor. Nicole's lips were also stoned, and during the judges' critiques, when Nicole was talking, Mistress said that you could see the stones falling off her lips. They then got to the part in the episode when Mistress and Georges won the challenge, and everyone clapped and cheered for them. Naysha then said that congratulations go to Mistress and Megami. Just to explain in case you don't know, on Twitter after this week's episode aired, Megami revealed that she helped write the lyrics for Georges' verse, and Megami said she didn't even ask for money, she just wanted Georges to win, which she did. And Megami had tagged Naysha in this post saying she had some tea for Roscoe's. I also saw that someone replied to Megami asking if that means that the queens knew before filming that there was going to be a rapping roast. And Megami said, quote, I'll say they get treated like all-stars. This would make sense because if you remember, in one of my previous videos, I talked about the tea that Nicole had spilled on one of her live videos that Lydia got cast on the season. Nicole had said that they showed all of the queens clips of Lydia so that they could prepare to read her. And there hasn't been a reading challenge so far, so these must have been the reads that Nicole was referring to. But back to Roscoe's, and Naysha said everyone gets help with stuff like writing lyrics and roast jokes, and she'd apparently seen some backlash online against Georges because of getting help. And Naysha went on about this for quite a while, and she defended Georges, saying that it's totally fair to get help from other people. Bosco said everyone gets help, and for example, Bosco wrote roast jokes for Angeria for the roast on All Stars 9, and Georges and Plastique had their jokes written for them by a friend of theirs called Steven. So everyone has ghostwriters, even the judges when they make their funny comments on the main stage. They moved on, and Cara asked Mistress if she was annoyed that they split the prize money and also the point. Mistress said Georges was genuinely so excited that Chapel Roan was the guest judge this week, and she was apparently probably the only one who actually knew who Chapel was. So she said she could see why it was a tie because they both did well in the lip sync, but when they split the point, Mistress said, quote, this is such an effing stunt, and the only thing that Mistress was mad about was having to split the $10,000. They then moved on to the Q&A section, and a VIP question was if they stole anything from the All Stars set. Mistress joked that she's never stolen anything, and everyone laughed. She then said that she has shown on YouTube all of the stuff that she stole on season 15, and she said, let's just say this, on All Stars it was double that. And Mistress said she can't reveal everything she stole from All Stars because it hasn't aired yet, but one thing that she did steal was she didn't just steal from the set but also from other queens, and she said that she may have the, quote, Chucky wig that Nicole was wearing. Bosco then said that every time she's on the show, she takes part of the workroom wall, which is just a piece of fabric with a brick pattern on it, and she cut out a piece of it and keeps it in her wallet. There was then another question which was related to earlier when Mistress said that the crew was gagged when she pulled the stunt with the points. The question was, has that sort of thing happened other times that we didn't get to see, and are the crew allowed to say anything? Mistress said when you perform things on the show, the crew and everyone do watch it, so it really does feel like you're at a real drag show. Bosco said, for example, when they did the improv challenge and she made RuPaul break character, she kind of, quote, gagged the crew, and apparently everyone lost it and started laughing, and there was a full minute before they actually had to reset the camera and continue. And finally, there was an audience question which was, what did the queens think about the whole Irene versus Arrietty drama? Now, if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that Arrietty and Irene apparently had a falling out, and Arrietty recently made some quite serious allegations against Irene, but she later backtracked and apologised. And if you want to know the full story, check out my previous video, which I'll link to in the description. Naysha said Irene had already told her all of the tea about what really happened, but she asked Naysha not to share it. But Naysha said she'll share it now because Irene has already put it out there. Naysha said, quote, "The reality is, it wasn't about a man, it wasn't about," and just as Naysha was about to say it, Mistress said she doesn't think Irene ever actually shared the details. Naysha said, "Oh," and then she stopped and said she wasn't going to say it then. Batty said that she thought it was something about a booking. And Mistress said Irene came on her YouTube and said the same thing that she had said at Roscoe's. According to Mistress, the thing was that Arrietty started losing Instagram followers after that came out, and Arrietty panicked and thought that, quote, "everyone hates me." So Arrietty then made these, quote, "crazy tweets," even though Irene had never actually said what really happened, and Mistress said it's no one's business what the details are. Naysha finished by saying that Arrietty has a lot of maturing to do because you can't just put out tweets like that with a false narrative and then just say sorry. And Arrietty had already done something similar with the mirror message that she left about On Your Nerve. Mistress said it's all fun and games until it's not, and Bosco said it's different when you start impacting someone's life and also their livelihood. So there you go, there was the Roscoe's recap for All Stars 10 episode 5. Did you like the rappin' roast, or would you have preferred a regular roast? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like early access to my videos, access to the exclusive Patreon chat, as well as exclusive content, please consider checking out my Patreon. It just costs a few dollars a month and it really helps support the channel. And I'll put a link to my Patreon in the description. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all of my new Patreon members, as well as my incredible existing Patreon members. Your support is truly so amazing, and I'm thankful every day to have such an amazing community. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate your support more than you know. Please make sure you like and comment on this video to help boost it in the algorithm and promote it to more people. And please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like this video and want to be notified when I post more videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me in the future for more Drag Race gossip, secrets, and drama. Thank you so much. Bye.